Hey there, boys, girls, and flying squirrels. My name's Joe Keyport, and you're listening to the Ear Coffee Podcast. This week, I talked to Josh, John, and Wyatt of the local indie trio Charlie Doesn't Surf. During the interview, we talked about Josh's move from Alaska to Minneapolis, his relationship with the late Ed Ackerson, and his drive to mentor young talent in Minnesota, plus the band's rather ballsy decision to burn a copy of City Pages during their music video for the single Lynn Lake Punk. This is another great discussion where I got to be a fly on the wall while friends got to BS about their band and the music they make. It's Charlie Doesn't Surf on the Ear Coffee Podcast. So I'm joined by Joshua Williamson, John Bruno, and Wyatt Engel, right? Is that?
Yes.
Of
Correct.
Charlie Doesn't Surf. How you guys doing this morning?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm just chilling.
So before I want to get into everything, I saw on Facebook or Instagram that you guys been messing around with DIY telephone mics.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about that. That's always so fascinating. Is it Sylvia Massey, I think?
That's kind of where, like, that re-sparked my interest in
Okay.
it. I've always loved tinkering with old electronics and stuff. And my grandfather actually has worked for Southwestern Bell Telephone Company for, like, over 40 years now.
Oh, wow.
So, like, I grew up around phones and stuff. We always had extra spare phones lying around and stuff when I was growing up. And I was, I've been recording for, a few years now and in audio and stuff like that. So I was just watching this series on YouTube called Show Us Your Junk by Earthquaker Devices. They always pick cool people. And the Sylvia Massey episode, like, she opened up her mic locker and there was like 3 just like telephones. I was like, oh my God, I have phones. And like, it's so easy to do. Like, you use the speaker component instead of the microphone component, and you just wire it backwards to a TS cable. And then there you go, microphone.
Nice. Where do you work that allows you to just kind of tinker with that stuff?
I work at the Varsity Theater right now full time as their lead sound tech.
Nice.
And days where we don't have anything, I'll just go in and like on my own time and use the solder gun and just build stuff.
Gotcha. Well, now that I got that, I just like, it popped in my head. I was like, that's odd and kind of very cool. So Charlie Doesn't Surf didn't start as we know it now in Minnesota. It started back in Alaska. So kind of talk to me about the early days and moving here and how we got to what we have now.
Sure. It started like I had just gotten home from deployment, and I was deployed to Kuwait all of 2013, and I came home 2014 in the January or something like that. And I really wanted to get more serious about music. I'd been playing guitar since I was 8, but never like super seriously, only in like a couple other bands in high school. And so I like bought a drum machine and bought a looper pedal and like started writing songs just at home. And then my girlfriend at the time convinced me to sign up for a weekly open mic at a bar called Taproot in Anchorage. And like I did a couple of those on my own, and like that kind of got the notice of a few other musicians and ended up becoming a full band. Like I got a drummer and a bass player, Billy Herbst and Adam Kimball joined in the spring of 2015, I think we like officially started as Charlie Doesn't Surf.
Gotcha. Was that always were you initially like recording and writing as like a solo project, or when those other 2 members joined in, is that kind of how Charlie Doesn't Surf as we know it kind of became a thing?
Yeah, that's
okay.
The CDS that, you like the format has like pretty much stayed the same since those 2 joined. Like it's always been for the most part a trio.
So that first EP wasn't like you recording with a drum machine?
Nope, that was all us. And
Okay.
we actually did that really quick after forming. Like we formed in the spring and started recording that in like June. So there was only like a few months where we wrote all those songs. And cranked out an album. And then I moved away and ruined that.
What prompted the move here?
I got out of the Army and didn't want to do anything like that anymore. I was like, actually, the recording process of Riviera Days kind of opened my eyes to like, hey, it's possible to have a career in music, like in some way or another. I had just grown up, so my parents like kind of persuaded me to go into the military. So that's kind of like the only thing that I ever really thought of. So
Yeah.
that just kind of made me realize I can not do that if I want and still make some sort of income.
Yeah. Why Minnesota then? Because again, before we started recording, we talked about Matt Harris. When I was talking to him, he said a lot of Alaskan bands either come to the West Coast or they come to Minnesota. Is the thing he said? It's kind of, is that why here?
Well, yeah, Minnesota is amazing. I didn't know that when I moved here. I just moved here because there's IPR here, the Institute of Production and Recording, so where I finished out my degree.
Gotcha.
So I just like moved here blindly, like when I found out about the school, and then my initial goal was like, oh, I'll go to Minnesota, finish my degree, and then I'll move wherever I want to go. Like I was kind of thinking I was going to go to Seattle because that's a lot of Alaska kids go to Seattle because that's like the biggest city that's close by. And then I like made all these wonderful friends, and like the band, took off again, and I was like, and like the music scene here is just so much fun. Like I was like, well, might as well stay.
Yeah. Now, John and Wyatt, have you always been Minnesota born and raised, or kind of involved here? Or
Yeah.
What's your kind of?
No, I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so I am a Packer fan. Sorry. But I also went to college at St. Olaf down in Northfield, and applied for jobs back home and here, got one here, and I stayed.
Nice.
Because I like it.
Was it? Did you get involved in music then during your college here in the scene, or when?
Actually, that was probably, ironically, considering St. Olaf's reputation, was probably the worst period for me for doing music.
Okay.
Because if you're not really in the kind of classical or jazz thing, there's really not much of an infrastructure around there to do anything. So I joke that I was the punk scene in Northfield for 4 years. It was me and whoever I could coax into covering Black Flag with me.
Nice.
But no, I've been playing music since I was 9. Like I got a bass 6 months later, started a band, and I think I did the math. There's maybe been 9 months of my life the last 20 years where I haven't been in a band of some function. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah.
I just grew up in bumfuck nowhere, Minnesota.
Where is
Lindstrom? It's just a tiny little Swedish.
Yeah,
town.
I'm from Pine City, which is
sweet. I know where that is.
Yeah, so I drive through there because is it on the way to Taylor's Falls or is it on the other side?
Depends which way you're coming from. But
because my grandmother lived in Taylor's Falls, so I would always.
I lived just out in the country. There's very few people out there, and I just grew up just sitting with my drum set in a room where nobody could hear me, and just played until
practicing Rush songs.
Yeah, dude, it was so fun.
Can we cover Rush?
Yeah, can
Please?
Now that I'm trying to incorporate my synth into the band slowly. So yeah, I would really love to do Tom Sawyer. Yeah.
I mean, is it what's the second EP was? Yeah, Something Darker. You have that 7 minute track in there. So the idea of a long multiple minute opus wouldn't be that far out of the Charlie Doesn't Surf.
We like doing that stuff. It's obviously not quite our bread and butter.
No.
But we all love, proggy stuff. Well, I guess I'm going out on a limb just saying that we all love it, but I know for a fact John loves it.
Yeah.
Wyatt, not so sure yet since you're...
I mean, my other band is kind of a prog band.
True.
So.
But we all love all kinds of music, and we do certainly nerd out on prog rock. And so, yeah, we're super into getting theatric and...
Have you seen the Rush movie that just came out?
It was not tracking. There was such a
it's La Cinema Strangiato, and it's just a 3-hour long Rush music video / behind the scenes of their tours.
Well, is it I hope it's like that video where he's super cheesy, flying around playing the drums. Which one is that? Is that
I don't know.
Fly by Night. I don't know. There's a hysterical Rush video where he's super cheesy, playing his drum kit, and it's the screensaver where the Microsoft logo bounces
He's
around.
like that really old school CGI where it looked badass in 1981.
Yeah.
It looks dumb now.
Now it's so dumb.
But so then, how did all three of you guys come together? Because even once, Joshua, you came to Minnesota, you had a kind of a slight revolving door of musicians with you. So how did this lineup get put together? How did you guys come together?
John and I started playing together. It must have been late 2016, early 2017, right?
Yeah.
Because we had met by playing shows with John's other band, Wicked Tamazusa, and like even at the time they like weren't super active. Now you're really not active.
Yeah.
And so like we were having problems like finding a drummer who was a good fit. We've played with some cool drummers and like they're all still friends of mine.
Yeah.
It's just for whatever reason like they were involved with other commitments or like it just didn't work out timing wise. And so me and Matt, our last bass player who just moved, we were like racking our brains trying to find like we need like someone who's like stable and like likes the tunes. And I think I had asked John to do a gig with us down at Carleton College as a sub. And I was joking after it was done. I was like, I mean, if you want to be our full-time drummer, like you totally can, like expecting him to be like, nah. And he was just like, tight. And I was like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah.
So, and then Wyatt just joined us like very recently. And has been killing it, by the way.
Yeah, great job.
Thanks.
It's been really fun. Our bass player who's been with us for the past 2 records just moved to Oregon to go to med school.
Yeah, he's going to be a doctor.
Wow.
Yeah, so our new financier in the future. Just kidding. But no, Wyatt actually, it's funny. You should probably tell a story since I'm talking a lot.
Telling the story that I think you're telling?
Yeah, how we met.
Yeah, no, I think it was like 2016 or something. I don't know. It was after Riviera Days was out. I know.
Yeah, it was when I first moved to this city.
And I think it might have been when Matt joined around the same time. Like we were actually talking in cahoots for me to audition, and it just didn't work out.
Okay.
And I think Matt got in first, and I think I still have the text. It was like, "Sorry, guy, met with someone and killed it." I'm like, yeah, all right.
That's fair.
Yeah. I have 2 other bands.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
What other bands do you play in?
Currently, I'm only in a group called Vin.
Okay.
It's with Gordon Dufresne, who used to be in Infinite Me back in like 2015 when they were still a metalcore band. So it's kind of in that vein. I sort of bill it as if a bunch of scene kids actually learned how to play and grew up emotionally.
Shots fired.
Oof.
Ooh, shots really fired.
That's kind of what Vin is.
Okay.
So, not really metal, not really indie.
Dude, you better lock your doors at night, man.
So you released your self-titled debut record in May of this year. So tell me about, were you all involved in writing and recording that record, or?
Well, that was before Wyatt showed up, but me, John, and Matt all worked together, and our form of, or I guess our approach to writing is like we all come to each other with, I'd say like 80% fleshed out songs. We're like, okay, this is my idea.
Structure, chords, melodies, lyrics, and then we're like, now let's put it together and make it cool.
Yeah.
Like we had like all the cool bits together, but just like the structure comes from one person.
Yeah. And so like it's a fun way to write. Just because like we all have like writing credits on the album.
Mm-hmm.
I think Matt did like 5 songs. I think I did 7 and you did 1. If that math adds up, it's close, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's like 14 songs.
Yeah. Well, then maybe not that. It's whatever equals to 12.
Yeah.
I had a late night. I'm not here to do math.
I hope Matt has a lawyer.
But yeah, like it's fun, and like right now, since we're trying to like brush up on 2 EPs and 1 album's worth of material, like we can't really write right now, which sucks because I think we all want to.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of material just to make sure that we're good to play again, you know, and we're taking it chunk by chunk. And I'm trying to like introduce a lot of the Riviera Days stuff back into the mix because we haven't played that stuff in years.
Was that a conscious effort to like, did you just kind of like put away that EP material for just the time being, or why were you not playing it?
I think we were just really focused on making a new sound, and especially with something darker, like we were like a new city, like all new people. We were like, and we were doing it all ourselves. Like that was our DIY album that we recorded at IPR. And I think like we were just really focused on doing something new, and we were like, we can always come back to stuff later, but like I think we were just very focused on making kind of our own little footprint in the cities. So, but now that we've got so much material, it's like it'd be cool to do like longer sets and like book those kinds of shows instead of, you know, like throw and go 30-minute sets with 5 bands on the bill.
And just like, here's a general idea for a song. Blech!
Yeah. Like we've had a kind of a philosophy gigging in the Twin Cities, since we're usually only playing 30 to 40 minutes, like play the bangers.
Yeah.
Like, play the high energy stuff, play the fun stuff. And like we write more, you know, mellow stuff and like more complex things than that. So it's cool to kind of try and get that stuff back to the mix.
Do you guys play? Do you guys play a lot of like house shows, or do you? Is it?
I wish we played more house shows.
Okay,
I love them.
House shows are fun, man.
They're super fun.
Everybody's wild.
Yeah,
it's just there to have fun.
I went to my first house show 4 or 5 weeks ago. It was just an interesting. It's like there's 30 kids crammed in a basement.
But it's so much more passionate. Than
Absolutely.
Like a venue show.
Yeah,
like everyone wants to be there. Kind of thing.
There's no separation between anybody.
Yeah, and I love that.
Yeah.
It's cool to play on a big stage, but it's more fun to me to like play in a basement where I'm like
right there,
like have to worry about hitting kids with the headstock, you know, like that stuff's fun.
Since you mentioned that, like playing those 30-minute sets on large bills, and you're just trying to be like, this is who we are. Do you think that influenced how you wrote the self-titled debut? Just because, like, when I think about, especially listening to it again last night and this morning, like the A side has definitely got that, like the bangers, and then you switch over to the B side, and that's where you get the. I'm not gonna say like the nuance is more there, because obviously it's in the front half too, but that melancholic kind of the more complex, the slower. That's definitely where I learned more about that sound about you guys. Did that kind of influence how you wrote, or?
I mean, maybe deep down subconsciously in some corner of my brain, I don't visit very often, but I think honestly, like that's just what was in us at the time, and like we had all that. Like it's a lot of material. Yeah. And I think it was more so we just like we kind of do write half that stuff, half the other stuff, like half bangers, half introspective shit. I think it was just a matter of like, for the record, you really have to think about track placement and how it flows. And our producer was like very adamant. He's like, you need to make sure this flows right, because there's like if you look at it completely out of context and in the wrong order, it doesn't make any sense. So he's like, and that makes a lot of sense when you think that there's 3 different authors in this band. You know, like Matt's songs definitely have a very different tone than a lot of my songs, and John's song they definitely are his own thing too. So like it's just a lot of different ingredients to make this weird fucking cake that we did. But I think that's fun and rewarding.
Oh, absolutely. There's always, every once in a while, I'll play with like reprogramming a record that I really love, like seeing if I can take all the songs and put it in a different order and see what the meaning kind of. There's a couple of EPs. I can't remember which ones I did. This was forever ago. But who did you work with to produce this album?
Ed Ackerson over at Flowers Studio.
Did you know him beforehand, or?
Yep, I've known him pretty much since I moved to the cities.
An IPR connection?
No, when I moved here, I was like sending my resume and Riviera days to like all the local studios in town, just being like, hey, like I'm passionate about this. I want anything, like an unpaid internship. I'll make coffee for bands. Like I don't care. I just want
to be in a studio. Yeah.
I just want to be there. And he was the only person to get back to me. I think he's the only person who listened to the record. And
that's rough.
I mean, that's the way it is, unfortunately. But he like said, hey, like, why don't you come in? I was like, oh my God, cool. I didn't know like his history like that I do now, and like how much of a staple he is in this community and nationally in his scene. And so I went in and he was like, yeah, I listened to this. It was like really good. And like, I don't do internships, but I just wanted to meet you because I thought this was cool shit. And like, let's keep in touch. I was like, wow, that was cool. Like, wasn't what I was hoping it was, but it was cool. And so like that relationship has been there. And I was like getting advice from him for our new or something darker. Because I did that myself. I mixed it myself, recorded it myself with the help of friend Chris Code. But then like when it was time to get it mastered, I took it to him and he like dug it. Like he's like brought me in again. He was like, yo, if you did this, like you can definitely intern here or like be my assistant on days when I need it. Which was a really cool window for me to like go in and work with like the Jayhawks and who is Michael Bland. You know, it was just a really cool thing. And then that when it came time to get serious about the LP, I was like, well, I don't want to like, I want to not wear the producer engineer hat and the artist hat. Like I want to just wear the artist hat and let a professional worry about mixing and all that stuff, recording it. So we did it with him, and I love how it turned out. He's got such a good ear. Yeah. And like the gear he has is phenomenal. It's just a good experience. I loved it.
What John, for you, what was it like working in the studio to put this record together with Ed?
With Ed and him?
Yeah.
That fucking sucked. No, it was great. It was really fun.
Yeah. You were sick one of the days, weren't you?
Oh, dude, I was feeling so bad.
For like overdubs, I think.
Yeah. And I had like a fever, and I went out to the drum set, and I was just like kind of blacked out and just played my part. And then I just went back into the recording room, just crawled on a couch and just like slept for like 6 hours.
Yeah. Oof. Luckily, we were doing overdubs mostly for me that day. So like, I think you had to do like 2 things. And you were done.
I did 2 tracks and then I was just out. But other than that though, like it was really fun being there. Like he was super nice, and it was very much just kind of like, if I wanted to do something or try something, he'd be very, accommodating. Just be like, oh yeah, dude, it'll probably sound cool. Try it out, kind of thing. And I don't know, we did almost all of our recordings as like, we would just do like 1 take through live together. And like, I think just I would have a click track. And then like, I don't know, and it still came out feeling really natural.
Record to a click track, kids.
Yes.
Well, I disagree. I think like some songs it really works, but I think some songs really should be allowed to breathe.
Yeah.
Like some songs, like if you're feeling it, you should be allowed to just freely slow down and speed up. But
as an engineer, editing and post, it makes it so much fucking easier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll agree with that.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, like you're right. But like what I was gonna say is like I think even though we recorded, I think every single song to a click, none of the songs feel like they're exactly like robotically connected to the click. Like they all kind of feel organic. And it doesn't feel like we were just like, all right, this has to land on the beat, every beat.
That's just because you're a really good drummer, buddy.
But you guys did great too.
Also, in my amateur opinion, I think one thing that really contributes to that robotic feel that I hate that people do is sample replacements on drums.
Yeah.
Triggering.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't sound good. Stop doing it.
But dude, how can I get like 6 kick hits with just 1 kick hit? How can I do like easy double kick? Just
get good.
Yeah, practice.
Yeah.
So there were specifically on the B side of the album, I wanted to talk about 2 songs specifically. Well, there's an A side song that we're gonna talk about later, just because there's a video for it. But Broken Cells and Travis Revisited Were those two connected, like story wise, or what?
No, but I can see how you would think that,
because they're obviously they're next to each other, and they tell almost a similar kind of tale. Plus, Travis Revisited appeared on the first EP. Yeah. So tell me about those songs.
Those actually have two different authors.
Oh, yeah, so the Broken Cells is a Matt song.
Okay.
And Travis Revisited is one of mine.
Okay.
Mine, like you mentioned, it was on Riviera Days. I think it was the closing track on Riviera Days. And like I love that version, like because it's it's a timestamp. Like that's where I was 2015, you know, with those dudes in the band at that time. Like it still means a lot to me, but for years and years, I've been like, this could, like, it's not really how we play it anymore. Like, I've really, like, perfected, like, my guitar parts. And, like, there's a whole, like, sort of cinematic ending to it that wasn't in the Riviera Days version. So I was just like, I'm kind of, at the time, wasn't really sold on, like, re-recording old material, but I was like, I really, really want to do this, and it's kind of changed my mind on it.
Okay.
But I was like, this is important to me. Like, this is going to be a big album, and that song is a memorial tribute to my friend Travis, who passed away in 2014. So we did it, and it's a pretty vague song, which is how I intended it to be. Matt's definitely, I think, paints a bigger picture with the lyrics.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell a lot more what's going on, and that's about one of his friends who passed away from cancer some years ago. I wish he was here to talk more about it, because, like, that's always been one. When we were playing live, I would sing almost all of his songs except for that one.
Okay.
So I know that one was, like, really, really close to him.
So would he sing that song, or did you guys just kind of exclude it from the set?
Oh, he would sing it.
Okay,
sing it.
nice.
Yeah,
because we like playing that song live. Like, it
was one of the slower ones we would actually like play.
Yeah,
right after some of the bangers, because like at the end it gets a little big,
Yeah.
So it's got a bit of that. Also, I want to say, like, as an aside to Travis, like, comparing the old version to this one, I like your tone a lot better now. Like, just as like a.
Well, thank you.
Like,
I have better pedals now.
Yeah.
There's a piano in this version.
There's a piano in this
Which
version.
makes it more
Sick piano tone.
Yes.
I love that piano in the studio. It's a gorgeous sounding piano.
Yeah. I like how, like, in the studio version, Travis Revisited, you can actually hear, like, the hammers dropping on the piano, like, after every like chord. You hear the chord go down, and then, like, you hear right when you pick it up, and you just hear the hammers go just slightly if you're listening. It's super cool.
Now I gotta go listen to it in headphones.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta listen hard, but it's there. You can hear it.
So, Lynn Lake Punk, the video is an ode to the Minneapolis scene. And now the first thing that really picked is it opens with you guys burning a copy of City Pages.
Hell yeah!
Where did that idea come from?
Well, so Will, who's one of my best buds and the director, and my roommate, like, I told him, like, the video is yours, like, because he was doing it for free, like, he just wanted to do a video for us. I was like, really, whatever song you want. And, like, I did not expect him to even pick Lynn Lake Punk. I thought he was gonna do, like, Darkroom Dream or DUI or something. And he's like, no, like, I really want to do Lynn Lake Punk. I was like, oh, cool. Like, what were you thinking? He was like, I just want it to be like you guys, like, running around, like, doing hood rat stuff with your friends. And he was like, well, he's like had this idea. I was like, I want it to start with, like, us throwing something on the fire. And he's like, I want it to be, like, maybe something, like, winter related, like, to open, like, the whole mood with, like, winter's over, this is summer.
Yeah.
And, like, I forget. Actually, nope. I remember exactly what spurred the conversation. We were friends with the band called Dead Kings of Norway.
Yeah.
And we were flipping through City Pages. And City Pages had, like, done, like, their free things to do on the weekend or whatever. And they're like, they featured them, which is really nice. Like, hey, Dead Kings of Norway show. And for the picture they put for him, they put the completely wrong band.
Yeah.
Like they put a band called Kill Palace, like, and like it's like a conspiracy theory. Like you can connect the shit with like yarns on a chalkboard, you know? Because like they were talking about Dead Kings of Norway in the article, and the picture that they took was from a show that we played CDS with a band called Kill Palace.
Yeah.
At the 331, and
the picture was taken.
The photo credit was from Tim from Dead Kings of Norway. So I was like, it's all connected. It's just really wrong, you know? And so I was like, we should fucking throw City Pages on the fire. Like, this is so stupid. And then like Will just loved it. He was like, oh my God, let's do it. I was like, oh, you're serious? Like, I mean, I don't have like really a relationship with City Pages. No. Now we do. Yeah. Now we have a very funny relationship with City Pages.
They seem to love it because they
love it.
They featured the video in their like their June like weekly music video roundup, which is, I guess, almost that could have either gone really poorly just because like I don't know what's more like. I wouldn't say it's like The Current and City Pages are like the two, when you think of local music, kind of entities.
They tell you what to like.
Yeah, essentially the
gatekeepers,
the tastemakers.
Yeah.
But so then, was there like a general idea from there of what you were going to do for like the shots, or was it just literally like we're just going to go run around the Twin Cities for a day and take footage?
Pretty sure it was just let's run around and like let's go have fun on this day and film it, which is what we did. I mean, Will is like a trained filmmaker. He went to some fucking school to study film in Boston. And so he like knows all the subtle nuances of like how that process works and like how to capture like real emotions and stuff like that. And he's just also a super fun person. So like that day was just hysterical. And like it was work for the like first part of the day. Cause like the scene where we're in the backyard, like playing the song, like, oh God, we had to do so many takes of that in the backyard, like listening to the song on a little boom box. And there was a point where he was like, I want to get like slow motion shots. So we're going to have to play it at like double speed or something like that. And I was like, dude, no. Like,
I was like, I can't do this, man.
So that got nixed. Thank God. Because I think we tried it like 3 times. We're like, I can't fucking do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that day was just a party. Like we started the day like with the work part, like doing the shots in the backyard. And then then we went and ran around Lynn Lake and I think the Northeast shots were a different day. But then like the end of that day was like a legit house show in our basement where we like invited all of our friends and like dressed like what you think a punk is.
Yeah.
And there were some pretty funny punks in the crowd. But yeah, we just turned it into a party and filmed it. Like played an actual set in the basement. It was a riot. And I love the way it turned out. It was really cool.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's one of the best like homages that isn't too corny. It's like a lovable amount of corniness.
Yeah. We wanted a certain amount of like campiness in it, you know.
Self-awareness.
Yeah. But so then you in May as well, you did your release show at the Varsity Theater and had a subsequent tour. So tell me about that show and the tour you guys went on, because are you guys fans of touring, or are you?
I love it.
Yeah, it was great.
This is the second tour I've been on.
Okay.
The show was cool. It was super cool to play a big stage. I mean, I have connections there, which is how I got the date.
Yeah.
And I had reservations about it, and I even like told my boss, who like solidified the date. I was like, I don't know if we should do it here. Like, this is 1,000 cap room. Like, we're not going to get anywhere near that. And he was like, don't worry about it. Like, it's your friends want to like help you put this show together. Like, the people who show up will enjoy it. Like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, when you put it that way, let's do it.
Yeah.
And like, it's cool to play like with a real monitor engineer there to like a real sound check. We went in and like checked everything ahead of time. It was great. Like, and maybe a little more than 100 people showed up, which for us is super cool. But like in that space, that definitely doesn't feel.
No, it doesn't feel huge.
Doesn't feel great, but like there was so many like familiar faces and like so many new people. I was like, hello.
Yeah.
People just showed up that we've never seen before, and we're like, awesome. Dude,
it was
where'd
cool.
you come from? But like, whatever.
Really good experience overall. Like, I definitely would love to go back someday, like hopefully opening for someone bigger and like play to a full house. That'd be so cool. But the tour was pretty funny. We blew the alternator the moment we pulled out of the driveway in Minneapolis. So we drove all the way to Eau Claire with the battery gauge just like slowly going down.
Yeah.
And then like the alternator cost like $500 to replace, which blew the budget for tour. So the rest of the time, Matt and John are having a blast, and I'm like with the calculator, like, don't spend any money. Like, and we get to the towns, we're like, all right, what free shit can we do? You know?
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time in parks playing frisbee.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which was,
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just fun.
Frisbee or frisbee golf?
Frisbee. We don't have a froth disc. That's something we should invest in.
Wait, no, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I got one.
I take frisbee golf way too seriously.
Well, all right, next tour.
Do you watch?
I'm no good. I just take it really seriously.
Do you watch the tours on like YouTube?
I do watch highlight videos. Yes.
Actually, it's funny. Last night while I was prepping, my roommate, who's also really into frisbee golf, was watching some tour going on. So it's
US
yeah,
PGA.
yeah. I was like, huh, this is a thing.
That stuff is on like public television.
It was like it's like a YouTube.
Oh, okay.
It's obvious.
You'd probably stream it on something.
Yeah. My favorite was they cut back to the like the commentators, and they're just like, it's kind of almost like looked like this. They were just sitting in a kitchen, just like talking in the microphone.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But what were some of your favorite moments from touring, even though it was oddly stressful with the whole budget thing?
I mean, for him,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my van, so they didn't care.
I mean, we were sympathetic. We were like, oh man, that blows. Let's go check out the Chicago Music Exchange.
Highlights.
Dude, the Chicago Music Exchange, though.
Yeah, we went to the Chicago Music Exchange. They do not give a shit, by the way, about like we walked in and they were like, hey man, like play anything you want. I was like, anything I want? Like,
yeah, like some of those guitars were well over like, 15,000.
Yeah, I was like, this guitar costs more than everything I own, like combined. And he was like, yeah, just take your keys off your belt, you know? I was like, wow, all right.
Yeah.
It was like, having that much freedom was like kind of stressful. I was like, don't look at anything.
Guitar Center is weirdly like protective of just like the little things.
Yeah,
like
on
the
the second
run. Yeah. Please ask first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
Yeah.
There was also Pride happening when we were in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was like pouring down rain. I wanted to like go check it out, but there was rain and it's Chicago on like a Friday, I think we were there or something. So like traffic was bananas. We checked into our hostel.
Yeah, and like and
we should tell the hostel story.
And like right when we were checking in, like as we got out and we were going into the hostel, there was like a group of girls from Pride that were like getting into an actual fight, like right outside of the hostel.
Oh,
like
on the stoop of the hostel, and then it moved inside the hostel.
Yeah, and then we were like, oh, are they done? And like when we got inside, they were still fighting, like right in the lobby of the hobby.
And we were just standing there with our gear, like, we just want to check in.
Yeah. And like the manager came out, broke them out, and like called the police, and we're like, can we check in now? Just like,
it was intense.
Yeah. Dude,
and then that hostel was like one weird thing after another. Like we had to like watch this fight happen with our gear, like waiting to check in. And then we finally did. We went up to our room, and I don't know what I was expecting because I've never stayed at a hostel, but it was like a bunk bed, like a double on the bottom and like a twin on the top, and just like a nightstand with a lamp on it. And like they didn't clean. There's like towels all over the floor, and like the beds weren't made, and like I was like, is this how this works? Like and the bed, I remember, squeaked really loud whenever he like moved it. It just like wee. Yeah. So I was just like laying awake all night, like, oh my god, I got a 6-hour drive tomorrow.
Please no.
Tour was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. The gigs weren't really much to speak of. It was like our first tour, and
we met a lot of really cool bands.
Met like a lot of cool people.
Yeah, made a lot of friends.
But we were pretty much playing to other bands.
Okay.
That sort of deal. Next time we go on tour, we're gonna take the time to like properly promote it. And like everything we do is like a learning experience. Like now I know what not to do for the next one and what to be proactive about.
Do you guys handle all your own booking then, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
I wish we didn't.
Yeah.
It'd be nice for someone to just come up and be like, you got a gig, go get it.
Okay.
Yay!
Here's a piece of paper with all your information on it. Go do it.
Yeah.
So just kind of wrap things up here. What does the rest of 2019, 2020 look for you guys?
Gigs.
Yeah.
Playing gigs. We've got like 4 lined up right now for the next 2 months.
Okay.
So we're excited to just get out there and like start playing again. You know, there's a whole new like energy that we have right now, and we just want to ride that wave.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Thank you for having us.
The Ear Coffee Podcast is a companion to the blog of the same name. If you like this episode, please leave us a rate and review so we can stand out among the other music podcasts. You can follow us at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram @Ear Coffee. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.